thank you for taking the time out to join this webinar and support fellow Randolph alumni. I'm glad that we're here being able to kind of learn everything that there is about the home buying process or what LaQuana is able to share, whether buying your first home is super far out for you. You can have some of these tips that LaQuana is going to share in your arsenal, or if you've already went through this process, you'll be able to look back maybe or share what you've learned on top of your own experience with others. I wanted to say that working with LaQuana has been a breeze, and I feel like she definitely has a lot of valuable insight to share about the home buying process, especially being in the field as long as she has. In regards to any questions that you may have while she's presenting, you can definitely drop it in the chat. If it's anything more private, you can go ahead and press the Q&A box, and that will make sure that only LaQuana and I can see it. Um, and yeah, without further ado, LaQuana, you can take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Please feel free to drop questions in the chat. I'm going to be asking you a few questions tonight. It's going to only give me more energy throughout this process. Don't be shy. We are family. It's an intimate group tonight. So anything you think of, if you have like a one-on-one situation, there'll be room at the end to we can riff and figure out how I can help you. So let's get into it. Tonight, I am going to show you how to go from dreaming about home ownership to confidently making it happen. Okay. Even in this market, which if you're in New York or New Jersey, it can be a little bit difficult at this time. So, my question to you is, what if buying a home didn't have to feel overwhelming, confusing, or out of reach? And you actually had a plan. That's my goal for you tonight. This training is perfect for you if you've been thinking about buying, you've been hearing or reading about on social media how easy it may be, you're tired of renting and possibly ready to build some equity because you know you're meant for more, or you want expert help and you don't want to feel overwhelmed, or you just want to know the steps and the process. So when you are ready, you're fully equipped and prepared. So my promise today, my presentation will take about 30 minutes or so. And my promise to you today is I'm going to show you my 7 steps to buying your first home and how to financially prepare. I'm going to give you some mortgage programs that can help you save, some first-time home buyer programs as well. And I'm going to show you how to buy with confidence. So go in there knowing that you may not get the first, second, or even fourth house, but at least you know the steps and what it's going to take. All right. So stay to the end because I do want to share my popular home buyer cheat code ebook with you guys. So that if you don't get this presentation or you not don't have time for a replay, you can use this as a resource. By the end of the session, you're going to walk away with a clear roadmap to home ownership. You're going to know exactly the steps you need to take, and it's going to help you work on your goal. All right, so a little bit about me. Ambria already gave me a great intro. Thank you. I am a real estate broker in New York and New Jersey. I grew up in Brooklyn, and my background is in accounting and finance. I was working at a Big Four accounting firm right out of school. I graduated from Syracuse University after going to Randolph. And I said, okay, accounting is fun. It's a great foundation, but I have an extroverted personality. I want to help people one-on-one. Spreadsheets are cool, but I feel like I'm meant for more, right? Do any of you feel like that sometimes? Like you know you are working in one place, but maybe there's something else out there for you, right? I worked after the Big Four, I left and pursued real estate full time. I took a sabbatical, stepped out on faith, and I went back, gave him my 2 weeks notice, and I've been an agent turned broker ever since. I started my own brokerage in 2020, right before the pandemic. And then we've been in business for about 5 years. I have 6 agents under my belt, and it's been a joyride. 10 plus years of experience, helped hundreds of buyers purchase in New York, New Jersey, and surrounding areas. And I'm truly passionate about helping people build wealth through real estate. All right, so before I start, does anyone have any questions for me about anything? Okay, I see a Q&A. Chat is disabled. All right, so drop everything in the Q&A. I'm going to put that up instead. Thank you, Nigel. All right, so let's break down those 7 steps to home ownership that I talked about. What makes this journey easier than you think? And that first step is getting financially ready. Okay, so before you even look at homes, the first step is understanding your full financial picture, your income, your debt, what's your credit score. You can get a free credit report at annualcreditreport.com from all three, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. This will help you figure out how much you can realistically save, along with having a lender go through this with you, which I'll get to. Most lenders do look for at least a 620 credit score, but if you're above 680, you'll likely qualify for better rates. Better rates means lower monthly payments, right? To be competitive, you want to save at least 3 to 5% down um, for your down payment, but also take into account that you will have closing costs. And closing costs can be another 3 to 4%. So this is all a part of your financial scope. First, you want to get financially ready by seeing what's my debt, what's my income, how much can I afford, and then looking at your financial picture in that sense, then being able to save that 3 to 5% for the down payment of the house and an additional 3 to 4% for closing costs, which are attorney fees. Closing costs could be your fees for inspection. Closing costs can be, it's going to be all detailed down when you do close on a home, but that's why it's very important that you're saving at least 3 to 4% for this. As we go through the presentation, I'm going to break that down. I don't want to overwhelm you with so much information on the first slide. So sometimes people will say, all right, sounds great, but how do I actually save for that? So if your goal is to buy, hypothetically, a $400,000 home, 400,000 with that down payment of 3% is about 12,000 down. So not saying you need to buy a home tomorrow. If you were to give yourself a 12-month runway, that's about 1,000 a month. And we would break that down even further. That's 250 a week. So drop in the Q&A or the chat if you feel like that's doable. 250 a week at this stage, saving with a 12-month runway. Be honest. And when you think about 250 a week, that could come from cutting your non-essential subscriptions. For me, my non-essential subscriptions are Netflix, which I love, Hulu, which I love. But if I had to make a 12-month commitment and get somebody else to sign in for that time, it might be worth it. And that's a small one, but they all add up. So I'm just giving an example. Another way that you can process getting financially ready and coming up with ideas and budgeting for your 3 to 4% down payment and your 3% closing costs is to use tools and apps that can help you. So one, yes, you can talk to someone like me who can walk you through this and we could come up with a plan. But if you're not ready for that, you can utilize apps like You Need a Budget. And with You Need a Budget, you can literally upload all of your bank statements, all your information, or you can type it in if you're not comfortable with that. And they will tell you based on your spending, this is how much you can put away for purchasing your home. You can utilize tools like ChatGPT and AI and say, I want to buy a home in 12 months. My price point is 500,000. Help me come up with a 12-month plan to achieve that. This is my debt, this is my income, this is my credit score. With AI now, a lot is possible. Okay. I'm curious, how many of you are already using a budgeting tool or app? Okay, okay. The chat's fixed, guys. The chat is fixed. How much would before I go there, how much would a monthly payment be with 3.5 down at current rates? So that really depends on the price of the home and the rate that you're going to get from the lender. So right now I have a couple that is in contract. They're in contract for $600,000. They put 3.5% down and their rate is 7.2%. Their rate is a little higher because they are using a grant. Yes, grants are great. It helps you with down payment and closing costs, but sometimes those grants cost. So their monthly payment is about $5,200. If they were to get a rate around 6.8, that could cut that by 200. So hopefully that answers your question. It really depends, Andrea, on which rate you get based on your credit, based on your income, based on the debt, and also the sale price of that home. All right. And Nigel's using Rocket Money to help her with budgeting. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Y'all ready for step two? Let's do it. All right. Step two. I can't stress this enough. Let me tell you about a story. Step two is about getting pre-approved and knowing what you can afford. I had a client who was using is it Rocket Money? Rocket Mortgage. And he didn't want to run his credit. I have perfect credit, LaQuana. I don't want to run it. I don't want to hit my credit. It's 800 plus. When you do get pre-approved, you will have to hit your credit a bit. And I said, okay, let's speak to the lender and let me see how much you could afford. Let's get a verbal. Okay, LaQuana, he's good. $900,000. Okay, no problem. Now it's time to put in those offers. And usually I never go out with a client unless they have a pre-approval. But I just said, he came in as a referral. I'm not going to be so hard. Let me let me see. Now it's time to put in those offers. I need the paper now. I need the physical paper. No more verbal. Rocket mortgage. Okay, he's approved for 550,000. What? You told me 900,000. Oh, I didn't look at his tax returns. Andrea, back to your question. You may make $100,000, right, per year, but if you have a small business and you're writing that off and it's a single member LLC or it's just a sole proprietorship, that counts towards your income now, and you're taking that off. So say if you have a small business and you're writing off 20K of a loss, now your 100K means you're really making 80K and you no longer qualify for as much as you did before. So a lot of times people start companies just to write it off and pay less taxes. But when you're ready to buy, you want to make sure that your previous tax return reflects the amount of money you want to show the banks that you make. The minute you try to write everything off and make less money, that's what the banks are going to look at. Oh, but no, look at my current pay stubs. Okay, that's great. But you said we have to still use your tax returns. We'll take that into account, but your tax returns hold heavier weight. So keep that in mind when you're getting pre-approved. Very important. So you want to get pre-approved because that's going to help you figure out how much you can realistically afford in this market. It tells you what a lender is willing to lend based on your income, credit, your job history. They typically want you at a job for about 2 years, but in this economy and market, a lot of people have different situations, so it really depends. The pre-approval gives you credibility. Some sellers will not even let you tour the house until they know that you've taken the step to get your pre-approval. The lender will want your pay stubs, your W-2s, tax returns, copies of your bank statement, and credit info, which they will run independently. This is usually uploaded to the lender's portal, and they'll tell you exactly what they need. All lenders are not created equal. So while you're shopping for a pre-approval with a lender, before you have them run your credit and do the thing, make sure you're asking what first-time home buyer programs do you have? Or if you're not a first-time home buyer, what programs do you have with down payment assistance? How do you represent me as my lender when I need an updated pre-approval? How long is this pre-approval good for? Yeah, all lenders are not created equal. So, and another thing about getting pre-approved, please get pre-approved, not pre-qualified. When you go and you're serious about shopping for a home, you want to get a pre-approval. The difference is with pre-qualification, that's just like my example, it's a verbal, they're not checking paperwork, they're not going in debt. With a pre-approval, they're going through everything, they're looking at your financial situation at scope, and they're giving you an actual number you can afford. Any questions about that? So please tell me, what is one thing you think might be holding you back from getting pre-approved now? Maybe you're not ready. Maybe you don't know which lender to go to. Maybe you've heard horror stories. I would love to know what's stopping you from getting a pre-approval now, or have you thought about, or do you even know that was a thing? Everyone's thinking. I'll let you ponder on that while I go on. Okay, next. You want to choose the right team. Okay, this is the fun part. When you are shopping around, even before you're ready to buy, like tonight, if you're on this call and you're saying, this is a thought, I just want to think about it, I'm not sure yet, this is the best time for you to start researching real estate agents that you want to work with. Do not just go by likes on social media. Go by possibly booking a consultation with them, feeling them out, asking them your questions that will help you feel more comfortable. I recommend researching agents, lenders, attorneys, and inspectors. Agents, lenders, attorneys, and inspectors. Research them up front so when you're ready, you're not scrambling and you're not choosing anybody, and then you're not happy with their services because you didn't have the time to really sit back and see who has your best interest, who would you like to work with. So ideally for the realtor side, you will want someone with experience. If they don't have experience, having a mentor guiding them through the process is okay too, in my opinion. Find someone that you feel you can trust and have your best interest. How will you know that? Getting on the phone with them, asking questions, seeing if they're annoyed, if they're trying to rush you off, if they're telling you, go look at my page. Depends on what kind of service you want. You know what service you want, and it'll be very easy to check them off. Okay, that one's not for me. I need more hand holding. That agent's not for me. I need someone who's not texting me every single second about new things. That agent's not for me. You know your personality. I would pick probably two and then process of elimination. In this market now, every buyer, as of August 17th of 2024, every buyer has to sign a buyer agent agreement form. So you will have to pick one agent you want to go with, at least for some time. If you're not happy with their services, it's easy for you to get out of that contract. I advise looking for someone who educates, not just sells, understands first-time home buyer programs, working with first-time home buyers, knows how to negotiate well, has solid relationships with lenders, inspectors, attorneys, does their research. And yes, I'm licensed in both New York and New Jersey, but even if it's not me or my team that you work with, please don't skip the step. All right. For the attorney side, you want someone you can contact and get in touch with. Some attorneys have paralegals they work with, so you have to decipher, do you want to be able to reach your attorney directly, or are you okay with them having a team as long as someone's working on my deal? You want to find out attorney fees up front. I'm looking to buy a multifamily. How much do you charge for multifamilies? I'm looking to buy a single family. How much do you charge for that? Hey, we're going to be putting in a lot of offers with my agent. What if an offer falls through, but you worked on it as an attorney? Do you charge for that? Do you charge extra fees for working on my deals for me? When can I reach you? How do you negotiate for me? You'll get the replay of this so you can like go through these questions again. These are questions that you want to ask. How soon can you get me a countersigned contract? How soon after I say, I want that house, you put the contract out, I sign and give my money. How soon can you get the seller to now sign and make sure we're locked in contract? In New York, as long as only one party signs, that deal's not locked and loaded. You can think you have the house, everything's good. You gave your $10,000 down, and then your agent calls you. Hey, Nija, somebody else came in with a higher offer, but the seller is giving you a chance to come up 10,000 more. Can you handle it? Hey, Nicole, I know you love this house and everything worked out, but somebody just offered cash and the seller's not signing. So it's very important for you to get a strong attorney. Now, in some states, attorney is not needed. They could utilize the title company, but I still recommend having an attorney to represent you in your contract. Also for your lender, like I told you, all lenders are not created equal. So you want to ask about those programs, ask them about discount points when you're getting a loan. Sometimes, remember that rate from that 7.2 to that 6.8%. Sometimes, as a buyer, you may be paying a point, which is what's a point? A discount point is 1% of the sales price. If sales price is 500,000, you're paying 5,000 for getting a lower rate. It's looped into the loan, but you're paying it. That discount point is your lender's commission. That's another, I'm not a mortgage professional, I must say that, but these are questions you have to ask. Am I paying for a cheaper rate? Are you charging me for this cheaper rate? That's the question you can ask. I want to ask this. Please humor me. Please chime in. What's one thing you would want in your agent if you were hiring one today? I want to see everybody flood the chat. What is one thing you would want in your agent if you were hiring one today, or your lender, or your attorney? Someone who communicates promptly. That is very true. And when you do interview your agent, find out if their communication skill is text, phone call, email. That's a great question as well to ask your agent. What's your best form of communication? Okay, so now we're going to get to the fun part, which everyone starts before all the other ones I mentioned. They start shopping for their home. They're on Zillow, they're on Trulia, they start dreaming. But I want to tell you something. If this is in your goals, if this is something you want to do, get out there. The hardest part of all of this, in my opinion, is finding the house that you really want to live in. But you have to figure out what are your must-haves? What are your nice-to-haves? Is this my forever home? Or is this the right now, next 5-year home? All the other things are paperwork, interviewing, figuring it out, but actually going into the house, seeing what you like you might have thought you could do without the washer and dryer, but actually I need it. Or actually, I don't like my kitchen near a bathroom. It will be things you're not even thinking about. So keep that in mind. Shop smart, use the process of elimination. And if you can, if this is not the forever home, please don't fall in love with the house too soon, right away. And I know you're probably wondering, what do you mean, don't fall in love with the house? I'm spending all my money. I'm going to fall in love with the house. Yes, I know. But what I mean is, when you go in, love it, like it. But if you do not get it, know that your house is waiting for you. Know that whatever house you're supposed to have, nothing can stop that. So don't fall in love so soon and be so attached to the outcome that if it doesn't work out, you're just like really saddened and you don't want to continue the process. All right. And this is how hiring somebody to help you out and having your team of support, your friends, your family as you go through this process. Have any of you started browsing houses online? Any must-haves in your dream home? Giordano, integrity you want in your agent. I love that. Thank you. When I bought my first house, I would go on and I would send my husband like, this is the one, this, and he's like, this is not in our budget. I'm like, I know, but so nice. Okay, step 5. We almost do our 7 steps. Step 5. So you've got pre-approved, you find out who you want to work with, you started shopping. Now, time to make the offer. So offers are different between states. So I won't go into the logistics. In New Jersey, you make an offer through a contract, through your agent or your attorney. In New York, you make an offer via email and a cover letter possibly, but it's not through a contract. So offers are different depending on the state that you work in. As an agent, I'm looking at the home's market value. I'm looking at the competition. I'm looking at inspection flexibility to position you well as a strong buyer. I'm going to include things like our offer price, how much my client's putting down, when are they able to close, and also any contingencies. And recently, there were changes in the real estate commission where now buyers have to sign that buyer agent agreement, and buyers may now have to come out of pocket for compensation for their buyer's agent. So you'll find some buyers saying, well, I don't want to work with an agent. I'm just affording my down payment and my closing costs. But your agent can still negotiate that commission for the seller to pay, or if you do have to pay, increase the price to where it makes sense for all parties. So speak to when you do start working with an agent to see what's the best strategy for you as you're in this market. Okay. Next is our home inspection and appraisal. You got the house. Congratulations. Offer accepted. Contracts out. Now you put in your earnest money or your initial deposit. All depends on which state you're in. After that, we're going to get our home inspection done, and our appraisal is going to be ordered by the bank. You don't have to worry about that. A third party is going to come out and they're going to appraise your property. Nothing you can do. It's up to them what they think it's worth based on the comparables, based on where the market stands in that area. So for your home inspection, typically this is costing about $500 and up, depending on what kind of inspection you want for your home. So do you want to inspect just the house itself? Do you want to add radon and a radon gas inspection, asbestos inspection? Do you want a sewer scope? You will know based on the house, and also the inspector will probably notice certain things and they will ask you, do you want to add this on? So it's important to get an inspector who does a variety of inspections and not just a house inspection. So if you do want to add it on, you're not now paying another person to come out again, the same price you paid the first inspector. Okay. That inspection can uncover a lot of issues with the roof, the plumbing, the foundation. So this is your chance to ask any and all questions. And after the inspection is done, you're going to get this 100-page report. It's going to scare you, but don't be afraid. This is what they have to make sure they dot their I's and cross their T's. But you'll get a report from the inspector, and then you'll use that report, give it to your attorney, and say, I want everything on page 3 and 5 to be fixed by the seller before we close. I want everything on page 10 to be fixed. And the seller may say, I'll fix everything except these three items. I'll give you $500 to fix it yourself. So you're back into negotiation. And if in the end, the seller doesn't want to bend, they don't want to fix, you can get out of that deal as long as your contract protects you. Going back to having a good attorney, putting these things in your contract. Next is your appraisal. This is paid for by you. Sometimes it's paid upfront via credit card, or it gets looped into the loan. Lately, I've been seeing appraisals paid for upfront. Okay, the appraiser is going to come out. The agent's going to show him the house. They'll take pictures. It takes about 10 minutes. They go back to their desk, and then they will see how much it's worth. Critical steps. So, does anyone know what happens if a house does not appraise for what you're in contract for? So if you're in contract for 800,000, super excited, gave your money down, you did your inspection, everything's beautiful. Appraisal comes back, beautiful house, but it's only worth 750,000. Does anyone know what happens? So three things can happen. And this is, again, you have to have the right contingencies in your contract. If you have a mortgage contingency that states you must have it appraised, Giordano said dispute is going to happen, right? I want my money back. Um, but if you have a contingency in your contract that says this contract is contingent on me getting a mortgage. However, my mortgage says I must have this house appraised at the price we're in contract for. So 50K off, 750 and 800 doesn't work. Okay, it's in your contract. You can get out the deal. Another thing you can do, hey, Mrs. and Mr. Seller, appraisal's in. I know you love this house, but it's not worth 800,000 like I thought and you thought. Let's renegotiate and lower the price to 750. It's the right thing to do. All right, you're right. You got us. I mean, no one's doing that now, but it does. It used to work, and it may work in some markets. Or you can personally, in some markets in New Jersey, right now it's the wild, wild west. There are bidding wars. People are waiving the appraisal, saying, I don't care what it appraises for. Whatever the difference is, I'll come out of pocket. So you can come out of pocket $50,000 additional to your closing costs, to your down payment, come out of pocket 50,000 additional dollars. Or if you're putting more than that 3.5% down, your lender can say, well, you're putting 20% down. We'll just adjust that 20% to maybe 18% to help you catch up to that 50K. So there's three things that mostly happen if it didn't appraise. So step number 7. Let's just say everything worked out. It appraised. We're happy. Now we're going to close and work on getting our movers ready to move us in. So what does that look like? Once all your steps are complete, you sign your final paperwork, you fund the deal, that home is officially yours. That's the pictures you see online with the keys and the solds, but they don't talk about all the things they went through before, but it's the glory. It's everything you worked for. You or your agent, you'll coordinate with your attorney, your lender, the title company, every step of the way. Right before you close, you get to see your house one more time and you do what we call a walkthrough. We're checking outlets. We're checking all the appliances, making sure they work. We're checking that nothing's leaking out the ceiling. We're just doing a check around. All the water valves are working, hot water's on, the heat is on, even in the summer. These are things you want to check because once you close, unless it's a new development, that seller is not reliable. So this is the last time you can keep them kind of on the hook for some of the things that still need to be fixed. And what happens if something does need to be fixed and you're scheduled for closing in 2 hours and you're doing a walkthrough? Your title company will hold money in escrow. So the dishwasher's not working. We're closing today at 2. It's 11 a.m. I'm doing my walkthrough with my agent. Dishwasher's not working. Okay, what kind of dish? It's a Bosch. We're going to hold $1,000 in escrow. We will not release it to the seller until that dishwasher's working or he gives you a new one, or he'll fund you this 1,000 so you can buy it yourself. So these are the things that happen. This is why you need a good team in place to represent you. Okay. So tell me, how would it feel to be holding your own set of keys this year? It's April 17th, keys before Christmas. I wanted to tagline that, but how would it feel to be holding your own set of keys this year? Well, let's review. So we went through that 7-step home buying process. We got financially ready, you got pre-approved, you interview your team, you shop for your homes, you made your offer, got your inspections and your appraisal done, you closed and you moved in. So the next few slides, I just want to share a few tips. This is breaking it down visually again for you. And I want to share a few stories so you know what some of my clients went through and that is possible for you. One of them is Marcus and Tasha. They were searching for their dream home, New Jersey. They lived in Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn. Brooklyn people that I meet, they never want to leave, and I get it. There's so much culture in Brooklyn, but New Jersey was the path. So we went through countless offers in a competitive market. We overbid countless times and didn't get it, but they were able to finally find their house. And I'm only telling you this story because I don't want you to ever get discouraged while you're going through this process, especially in the beginning. Just know sometimes it can be a numbers game. And like I said before, your house is yours. Nothing anyone can do about that. So after some of the things that I've shared with you tonight, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in your ability to, at least in your ability to buy a home this year? Having a little more knowledge than you did before.
I'd say I learned a lot of things that I did not know.
7. I'll take a 7. I'll take a 7. 8. Okay, Nicole. We're rising up. So with this, like going forward, preparing financially, boost your buying power. The more you have in your income and less in debt, the better you're going to be on paper and speaking to your lender to find out What's your max buying power? Okay, this is a great question I like to ask myself and also people who do want to buy. What do you need to let go of to create the space for what you want? So if it is home ownership, if it is anything in our lives, right? Like, what do we need to let go of? Sometimes it's habits, sometimes it's our mindset that we're telling ourselves what's possible and what's not. Only you would know this for yourself. Um, so you can sit with that. I wanted to also quickly touch on some mortgage basics. You guys can screenshot this page. The FHA loan, one of the most popular options for first-time home buyers. But keep in mind, you can put 3.5% down. Credit score requirements are flexible. In some markets, ask your lender, I know I'm doing FHA, but can I do a conventional loan? Why do I say that? Can I do a conventional loan? Sometimes shopping as an FHA buyer limits some homes that may not want to do certain repairs. With the FHA buyer, everything has to be tip-top shape sometimes. So if there's a banister, it has to be tight and fixed. If the basement has anything exposed, sometimes it has to be fixed. So a conventional buyer can put as little as 3% down as well. FHA buyer puts 3.5% down. So always ask your lender if you're able to do both. That way you're not limited on how you can shop. Okay, Stony Mom, that's a down payment assistance program. NJHMFA is very popular right now in New Jersey. It does have a cap on your income, so just check with the lender, single and married couples as well. USDA loan, VA loan, 0% down, no PMI. PMI, private mortgage insurance. Private mortgage insurance is insurance given to the banks because you put less than 20% down. So if you are somebody who serves, then you will not be paying any of that. If you are an FHA buyer or anything less than 20% down, they do charge PMI. PMI, it depends also on the sales price, how much it is monthly. Another thing you can ask your lender, since we're talking about mortgage basics, I'm thinking about buying this house on 123 Main Street. It's $600,000. Taxes are $10,000 a year. Can you give me a breakdown of what my monthly payment will be? I don't want any surprises as I'm going into this and offering. Andrea, this would be perfect for you. That way, I ask my lenders every time. My client's thinking about putting an offer in here. Their max monthly payment is $5,000. Does this fit the bill? What is the maximum amount of money we should offer? Because they have the numbers. I don't try to play bank. What is the maximum amount of money we should offer on this property to keep them at that $5,000 payment? I know you pre-approved them for $1 million, but my client wants to pay this much a month. So even though you're pre-approved for more, sometimes that may make your payment higher. Always go with what are you comfortable paying with monthly? Okay. And again, these down payment assistance programs help you when it comes to not having to come up with the full down payment. You could also leverage family and friends as well. So here's the recap, everything we learned, the 7 steps, how to prep financially, the mortgage programs, how to avoid mistakes and feel confident. And I don't want you to lose any momentum tonight. So please, 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 if you do want any one-on-one help from myself or my team, you probably can't scan if you are on your own phone. I used to hate when people do this. So let me try to drop the link in the chat to everyone if you wanted to schedule. And also, I promised if you stayed to the end, you would get my cheat code. I'm dropping that in the chat as well. I hope I hope this was very helpful. I would love to answer any questions. You could come off mute if you have any. Don't be shy.
I don't think they can unmute, but if you do have a
Oh,
question,
okay.
yeah, you can type
I know
them.
the broker accounts can be competitive. Do you foresee getting any less competitive within the next couple of years? And what strategies do you recommend first-time homebuyers do to stand out without overpaying or waiving key protections like inspections or appraisal contingencies? Do I foresee it getting less competitive within the next couple of years? Okay, without overpaying, I would change the way you look at it right now. In this market, you may be paying higher than the asking price, but that doesn't mean you're overpaying for the property. You overpay when it doesn't appraise at what you're in contract for, right? If the market says actually it's not worth that much. So you could change a little bit of the way you're thinking about it, but I know what you mean. You would, if you can, get pre-approved through underwriting. Ask your lender to get you pre-approved through underwriting. What does that mean? Yes, I have my pre-approval. They looked at my paperwork. The next step of that, when you are in contract, is for an underwriter at the bank to start processing your loan up until they have the address of the property you want. When someone is going up against a bidding war and they see this buyer is already pre-approved through underwriting, that means they're going to close sooner. They did that extra step than the average buyer. You're looked at as more competitive. That's one way. Another way is when you're putting in your offers, make a cover letter. Don't just willy-nilly put it in. Make a cover letter. These are the terms. This is what we're willing to do. This is, you can't write any love letters like, this is why I love it. I can't wait to live here with my family. We can't do that anymore. But you can write why you're a strong buyer, and your agent can write that. So two things: get pre-approved through underwriting, make cover letters for for your offer, keep everything organized, cover letter, offer, pre-approval, contact my attorney, contact my lender. Your agent will know this, but those are some of the strategies and ways right now to stand out. And appraisal contingencies, I don't recommend waiving it, but you can have a cap. So I recommend my clients to have a cap. Do you really love this house? What's the max you would want to come out of pocket? 2,000, 5,000. That's it. Okay, we'll do it. So I would say you would write in your offer, the house is 500,000. I'm willing to make up the appraisal gap of 5,000, meaning if it appraised at 495, I'm okay with it. So appraisal gap contingency added, um, getting pre-approved through underwriting, and structuring your offer very neat where it sells itself. I hope that helped you, Giordano. You're welcome. Are the links working for you? Did you try them?
They work for me. I did just click on one.
Okay, good.
You may have to copy and paste them. Okay, well, if anyone doesn't have any more questions, you can always forward it to LaQuana or I.
I'm putting my email in the chat as well.
I'll put mine too.
I heard being a first-time home buyer and having a spouse who's a medical physician can unlock some real perks. Any that may be useful. So nurses, practitioners, teachers, they do have certain grants and programs that not everyone has access to. So that is definitely a perk that you can unlock. But it really depends on the lender and if they offer that, where they can get more down payment assistance. They qualify for certain grants that the average consumer does not. So yes, that's true. Okay. I hope this was so helpful. I hope to see you guys in my email, my inbox. If you do get the free ebook, I hope you enjoy it. It explains most of everything I talked about tonight and some additional things. So yeah, this was great. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you guys for attending and for all your questions. Again, you can email